There he is. All right. We are live, Wes. How you doing?
Good, bud. How are you?
Oh man, we're just kicking. Trying to stay warm, man. I've been cold all day.
Oh yeah, I think I'm coming down with something. I've got a runny nose. I think it's from sitting in the boat all weekend, or on Saturday at least.
Yeah. No, it's just I don't know if it's just I mean I didn't have the heat turned up all day and just letting it do its thing, and I just been cold all day.
I know that's right.
Well, we're waiting on a few people to come in, see what happens. But regardless, guys, welcome in to Daddy Duck, in the blind with Daddy Duck. I got my good friend Wes Looney from Ground Swat Game Calls in here today. We're just going to be talking about this last season and his experiences, my experiences, and maybe a little conservation stuff as we go along. It all depends. We may get sidetracked on something else, but that's what we're going to do. But before we get started, I just want to thank the sponsors of In the Blind, which is Salt Creek Custom Ammunition, True Lock Choke Tubes, and Biscuit Built 3D. Anyway, so how was your season?
Dude, it was good. This was probably the best season I've had in years. I think there was only one day we went where we didn't see a duck, but it was real good. A lot of good numbers. Saw a lot of big groups. Didn't educate too many birds, but
Right.
we left pretty much every day we went. We left with something, and it wasn't just I know a lot of people don't hold wood ducks in high regards, but we didn't kill too many that weren't puddler ducks. We didn't have to shoot a bunch of mergansers to be happy.
Right. So you only hunted in South Carolina this year, right?
Yep, this was one of the only years I've only hunted in South Carolina. So,
Yeah.
And from opening day up until on Saturday, I mean, we were seeing birds every time we went, except for that one time. But you learn real quick not to trust everybody's scout that they saw.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? Real quick, Anti, thank you so much for coming in. Mark Taylor's in the house. Appreciate you coming in, Mark. Yeah, you talking about South Carolina, and Tyler's in the house now. This is one of the first years that I hardly ever hunted South Carolina. I was in Louisiana twice, Minnesota, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But you were saying that you had a good year. Were you seeing more ducks this year, or less ducks, or just the places you were going? Just good.
I mean, I saw ducks in places that I hadn't seen ducks in a long time. I don't know if it was because Helene last year messed a lot of stuff up, or we had a good acorn yield this year. But I mean, all public was pretty much good. I didn't see too many people at ramps during the second split. The first split's always kind of a crapshoot as far as how many people are there. And then the big ice storm we had, I think that pushed some birds down. I mean,
Right.
I live in Lawrence County now, and there was a guy that killed 2 canvasbacks in Lawrence County. So,
right.
I don't know if they were just very lost, or he might have been facetious on where he killed them. Either way, it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, really. Yeah. I saw another friend of mine sent me a picture. They were somewhere in the mid-state somewhere. He wouldn't, of course, nobody's going to say where they're at, and I'm not even going to ask. But they killed their canvasback. Everybody, I think there was 4 or 5 people in the group, and everybody got a canvasback. So, I mean,
that's real good.
That's impressive. Especially, I know it was in the mid-state, but where I have no clue, none whatsoever.
Yeah, people were saying Lake Murray was holding a lot of good birds too, but all it takes is one Facebook post, and you take a pile picture at the boat ramp, and then that next Saturday it's blown out.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think they call it cyber scouting. So
yeah, I haven't hunted Lake Murray in years, dude. the places where I hunted now have houses around them. I mean, it's just, you know,
Yeah,
I, mm,
I think with this big housing boom, it's only going to get tougher for big bodies of water. I
right.
mean, because I think most are 200 yards away from houses. I think some are even a little bit more strict, which, I understand. I wouldn't want somebody shooting pellets at my back door either. But,
Right.
I mean, it's
I mean,
I don't know what the future holds.
I mean, if you can get out to, if you get a low water year and get out to one of those shoals out there and put a layout blind and run your decoys around it, you probably do all right. But same thing with Lake Wateree and, get on those shoals. But it just seems like every time I mean, I fished it a couple of times on Murray and Wateree, but there's just so many daggum houses right now. It's just,
Yeah. I mean,
most of the birds you see are hanging around the docks anyway. So,
oh yeah, they know who gets fed Sunday bread. I mean, they're those big water ducks. They ain't too stupid.
right. We got Colton. We got M Colt Outdoors. He's in the house, and Randy Nettles just showed up. Colt saying, I can confirm two. He's trying to say Drake canvasbacks and one Drake goldeneye killed on Santee this past year. 3 separate hunts, second split. Gotcha.
Let me know where you were hunting. That way I won't go there. I don't want to run into you.
Yeah, I don't want to take your spot there, Colt.
Yeah, drop a pin so I stay away from it.
Exactly. I've seen goldeneye, and I've definitely have heard them, but I have never shot one. One of the few ducks I can say, hey, I saw one time. He came through the decoys, and I was like in awe.
They're funky looking birds. I love divers.
I thought a bufflehead could scoot. Nope, this thing just. And when it came through, it was roaring too, buddy. It sounded like a little Prius, hyped up Prius. But I'm gonna kind of, we're just gonna kind of bounce around. But this year for me, and I have to say, is one of my better years, especially in a long time. But they were out of state hunts. I mean, they were absolutely all out of state hunts. It wasn't he's saying it wasn't him. It was a good friend of mine. He killed him. Okay. It wasn't him. So even if it was, he wouldn't tell us where it's at.
Yeah. Hey, it's not mine. It's a guy I know. I'm holding it for him.
Yeah, I'm holding it for him. Yeah. These ain't my pants or my cousin's pants. Yeah. But like I said, the early teal season, even with the low numbers, we did fairly well. And I was only in Louisiana for 3 days, and I was still 33 ducks in 3 days. I mean, and it wasn't like we were with a big crowd of people. I mean, it was, the last day was, I mean, we had 8 people in the blind, killed 18 ducks, but that's with 8 people. The rest of the time was me and 1 or 2 other people, but we saw teal, we saw them. I mean, and even they were saying, this was going to be a poor year for them, but yet we were still seeing them. Minnesota, dude, I'm telling you right now, that one day, the scout day is what I call it. I saw more. That was the first day I got there that afternoon. I saw more ducks that day than I've seen in 10 years in South Carolina.
I believe it.
Oh, it was unbelievable. They were everywhere. They were in cut fields. They were just starting to cut the fields, so you had ducks piling in there. They were getting some rain, so you had like a flooded kind of around the edges of the cornfields, and they were piling in there. They were piling into sloughs and marshes and whatnot. It was a good hunt. I mean, my buddy was really funny, and he may show up a little later tonight. But Cody, I mean, he was all apologetic, man, I'm sorry. The ducks are starting to hear it. I'm like, what are you talking about, dude?
Yeah, I've got 6 on my strap. They're here, dude. You talking about like sloughs and ditches and stuff. I was reading something, and God, don't hold me to it. I don't know if it's gospel or not, but they were saying just how engineered the agriculture is in Arkansas, where everything's perfectly level and graded, where birds are actually starting to go away from the big square plots later in the season, and they're looking for more natural, dips because,
in the ditches. Yeah.
which I mean, I get. I mean, it doesn't matter how many decoys you throw out at the end. I mean, they've pretty much seen it all. And gosh, in Arkansas, they've been shot at, from all the way to Canada, all the way down. So,
well, I mean, I've been to Arkansas numerous times, and I mean, some years I've seen more ducks in the ditches than I saw in the fields.
Oh,
and I
yeah.
mean, right on the side of the road. I mean, right there on the side of the road, they're just piled in on the ditches, and I'm like, how come we're not shooting it? They're right here. But let's see. RD Reynolds is in the house tonight. Appreciate you coming in. Tell Noah I said hey. I mean, it was I think in Minnesota it was really funny because it was the 4th day where we shot that 3-man limit. And I was the only one to shoot wood ducks. I couldn't stand it, dude. They came and lit right in the decoys. They called them right into the decoys. I went, no, you're dying. You're dying.
I listened to a podcast, and there was a lot of stuff I agreed. There was a lot of stuff I disagreed with. And a lot of it's just because it's a different culture being in South Carolina versus, the public timber of Arkansas. I get it. You've got a better chance of seeing mallards, but I mean, this guy, he was dogging on people that shoot wood ducks at first light. He was like, oh, you're ruining somebody else's hunt. They might have had mallards working. And while I agree we need to work together, but I mean, it's kind of like playing blackjack. I mean, you're playing against the dealer. You're not necessarily playing against the table,
Right.
If I leave with a wood duck, and nothing else, I'm happy. I'll jerk his britches off and eat him for lunch,
That's right.
But
yeah, I mean, it's just and it is, kind of amazing. You have different styles of hunting all over the country, with traditionalist as far as mallard purist. You have diver purist. You have jump shooters. You have pass shooters. So you have a whole gamut of different ways to hunt ducks, and it never fails. A decoy, a guy that's truly into decoying ducks will just fuss at somebody who sneaks up on a pond and jump shoots, a couple of ducks off of it. And it doesn't matter what kind they are, but just like, why are you messing with them? Man, you should went there the next day and hunted them. Well, maybe he couldn't.
Yeah.
Maybe he couldn't. And he wanted a pair of ducks, a brace of ducks, take home and have for supper.
Yeah. I mean, as long as it's within the realm of legality, I don't care what anybody does. I mean, me personally, I try not to shoot the roost, but I mean, I was 16 at one point. Good grief. Let the young guys be young and stupid and let them look back on it in 20 years and say, geez, what the heck were we doing dancing in a gas station? I mean,
oh, I have a beautiful beaver pond right now, man. It's the roost. I would go into it even this year. I mean, I would go into it and I'd push them off the roost when I was walking in. And, I was lucky to get the one that I did. And, but they left out, and they always left out. No matter what end I went in, they left out the opposite because I was pushing them out when I was walking in. And I told myself, I said, one of these afternoons, I'm just going to go slide in there about 12 o'clock, about noontime. And I'm just going to get up there. There's an old log. I can sit on that log, lean back up on a tree, and just sit there until they come back. But I never did it because I always had that in my mind. No, don't shoot the roost. Don't shoot the roost. But been fun video if I'd have went in there and just videoed it. But
oh yeah.
So I have to ask.
Yeah.
All right, so guys, if you don't know, Wes, makes duck calls and decoys and lantern boxes, and probably makes about 24 other things I don't even know about. But he also has a Facebook page, Ground Swat Game Calls. Excuse me. And Bougie just came in and kicked the door open. But he posted what I thought it was funny is his youngster fell and skinned his knee up and was talking about all the blood and whatnot that was coming out. So my question is, did you have to amputate? That's all I want to know.
No, luckily we got the tourniquet on in time.
Good.
It was perfect. So nothing an ice cream sandwich couldn't fix. So
He looked pathetic.
oh, dude,
that little blood spot on his leg.
yeah, it woke me up from my nap. He's like, "There's blood everywhere," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" So he's like, just let me wake up, and I look, and I'm like, "Dude, we got to figure out our definition of everywhere."
Oh my goodness. But yeah, I'm gonna guys, I got a video coming out next Sunday. It's just an unboxing of some of Wes's stuff. And I don't want to ruin it, but he makes some really cool stuff, dude. I mean, he really does. It took me over almost a year to get this stuff made. I think he was messing with me most of the time, or didn't take me serious. But I finally got it, and and I showed you a picture. I think it looks cool on the wall, dude.
Oh, it does.
Oh yeah. I nicknamed that my canvas back wall. Now I've got two big old open holes on another wall I got to fill in with more stuff.
Give it time. It happens quick.
But yeah, dude. But yeah, y'all go and check out his Facebook page and look at some of the stuff he does. I can't show this. This is nothing. But that right there, that's the first call that I got from Wes. And I don't know what you call it. I call it Smoking Rose. That is just a cool little call, old style LA cut, with the twine wrapped around it. And this is the newest one. And what do you call this one?
So that was burgundy pearl with a black acrylic insert.
Okay. That is, I don't know how well y'all can see that. I'm going the wrong way. But that's a cool call. I like the way it looks. I love the way it sounds. And no, I'm not going to blow it in here because I'll have my wife probably come run bang on the door and tell me to shut up. But you can hear it on the video. I did blow it on the video. So, but yeah, I mean, I know you've been on here before and you told your story again, but just kind of remind guys of what all you do and what all you have and that kind of stuff, and why you do it. Why do you do what you do?
So I guess it all started in, I guess, around 2013. That was when the paracord lanyards really took off on Facebook. It had a couple of guys making them. I think the guy's name was Chris over at Duck Whacker.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I got on his books, and I think he told me, he was like, "Hey, it's going to be about a 6-month wait time." And I was like, "Geez, Louise, that's crazy." So I let him go ahead and make me one. I was going to wait. And then I went to, I guess it was, I was in San Diego. So they have Big 5 Sporting Goods. And I bought a cheap paracord lanyard. And that lasted all season, but it was flimsy, and it really didn't give me the warm and fuzzies. When you've got a duck call around your neck, you want it to be, secured and stuff. So while I was waiting on Chris to send me one, like all things, I got on YouTube and figured out how to do a few braids. And then I started making the lanyards. And then I got traction with that. And I did that for gosh, I guess close to 4 years, just doing nothing but lanyards. And then when COVID happened, that's when I really got back in. We had just moved back to the state, so I was going to get back into duck hunting. And I think I told my wife, I was like, hey, I want to, order, I think it was an R&T Mondo. I was like, I want to order a Mondo. And she was like, well, her first question was, what the hell is a Mondo? And I tried to explain to her, and then she saw the price tag, and she's like, geez, for that price, you could make your own. And then a lathe and a drill press and all the materials later, it would have just been cheaper to buy a Mondo. But I started making calls in 2020. Just hit 5 years in December. And then I linked up with Dale Bordelone. I saw one of his videos on decoy carving. And just pretty much anything Dale does, I'm enamored with. I think that guy, he's cool as the flip side of a pillow. And he just talked about preserving history and stuff out of Louisiana. And then I just kind of deep dove into South Carolina and then their style of decoys and, the calls they used and just stuff like that. And so now it's calls, decoys, lantern boxes, still make lanyards, but, now it's really all about, I told people, or I'll tell people, I don't need a tailgate full of ducks to be happy anymore. And I know that's kind of hypocritical because they always say that people that say you don't have to fly first class to, get somewhere, they've never flown first class. But,
right.
I'm kind of just past needing 6 birds every day. So it's kind of cool to be able to throw out, 4 or 5 of your own decoys. And if it all works out, it just kind of means a little bit more to me. But this was the first year where I hunted over nothing but canvas.
Right.
And some days I was like, geez, it's.
Well, when let's back up just a second, because you made a comment about the way South Carolina does stuff. And, South Carolina has a huge history in waterfowling. I think a lot of people have forgotten or just don't know about our history in waterfowling. What was the most prominent decoy style in South Carolina back in the day?
A lot of them was carved out of cypress. If you could get them out of cypress, they would do obviously very, very humble decoys up until the time the Kane brothers came along. But a lot of them were carved out of cypress roots and cypress knees and stuff like that. And then if the guys kind of in the middle of the state couldn't get the cypress, they figured out that you could make a wooden frame and make wires and then stretch, sailcloth over it. And you could actually float birds. Like, I'm going to go get a bird I'm working on. Give me just 1 second.
Sure. Appreciate that, Anti. Appreciate everything you do, brother. If I don't say it again tonight, I just want to let you know. I appreciate it.
Oh, so this is kind of how they all start out. This is going to be a buffle head, but basically you've got your bottom board, your backbone, your breast, and then obviously your head. Traditionally, they were secured with dowels just due to the fact that they'd get decapitated a lot from guys shooting them. So they had to be able to slap a new one on. But then it's just fitted with coiled wire and then stretched canvas and painted in a gunning style. But that's unique to the Carolinas, more so Virginia, North Carolina, and then a little bit into South Carolina. But that's typically what all the market gunners used back in their heyday before, I guess, the Migratory Bird Act of 1918 came out.
Right. That's interesting about the guys more inland doing that versus, or where they couldn't get cypress. That's to me, that's, I didn't know that to be honest. But what about duck calls? Have you found out anything about the duck calls that may be more prevalent to South Carolina than anywhere else, or that now maybe is gone all over? Is there?
Well, one of your first manufacturers was commercially was PS Holt. They did it in the 1900s and such. But as far as Carolina makers, I haven't deep dove into that as much. I've been enamored with decoys for a while now. But now I need to do some more research on South Carolina call makers. Unfortunately, I'd have to get with I think his name is Chris Williamson. He's with Iron and Oak. He's a big historian guy too. So he might be the guy that I need to lean on and say, hey, what can you tell me so I don't look so dumb? But
right.
We
do have a lot of call makers in South Carolina, some older guys and some newer guys. I mean, the older guys would be Sam Cox, who I'm not mistaken is up near your way. And I don't even know if he's still alive, but he was a big knife maker, and then he made a handful of duck calls and more in the Tennessee reelfoot style with the brass reed and wooden wedge, long and, very, very big call, very big open water call. Mark Ackerman, another one down around Cottageville and the low country of South Carolina. More of a J-frame guy. I mean, of course, you got you, Daryl Newman, Hugh McLaurin is another one.
Yep.
Charles Grant, the Grant calls. I know his son real well, Charles, and he's a huge historian. And one of these days, I just may get him to tell me some stories or something. But he's a good friend of mine. We talk quite often. But South Carolina, like I was saying, South Carolina is huge. I mean, our history goes way back when it comes to waterfowl, especially along the coast, before Santee was made. Have you visited any of these places to look at? Georgetown, the museum, or anything
I've been through Georgetown. I've never stopped.
Right.
But yeah, I need to. I've got people, they tell me I need to go to the Georgetown Wooden Boat Festival. They said I need to try to set up there. They said I do pretty good. But I think when you get into Georgetown decoys, I mean, gosh, when you got the lineage of the Kane brothers, mine are pretty humble compared to theirs. So I don't know how.
I like them. That's why I ordered one, and I've got it. And like I said, I'm gonna have a video on that and for you guys to watch coming out next Sunday. But I just love the history of it, and and granted, the decoy I got from you is most definitely can be used as a gunner. It wouldn't take much to fix it into a gunner, but the way I've got it presented, I think you'll agree, because I showed you another picture today, and I think it's sweet, dude. It's just a little, it's not it's history, but it's not history,
Right.
It's new history, and it's just pretty cool, pretty cool stuff. But so we talked about our seasons. You're saying that here in South Carolina, you had a really good season.
Mm-hmm.
May not have been limits every day, but you saw birds every day. That's good. I think I went a total of 4 times in South Carolina, and I saw maybe 16 ducks.
That's pretty good.
That was about it. But let's kind of deep dive into some stuff right now. And I know you follow the channel, and I know you watch some of the stuff that I've been doing here recently.
Yeah, let's stir the pot. Let's make some people mad.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to get a discussion going is what I really am trying to do. But when it comes to what's been going on across the country, and I know you talk to people from all over, I talk to people from all over. In your opinion, what do you think is going on? What is your assessment?
I don't think it got cold enough this year to push birds down. Granted, if there's an active food source, I wouldn't leave that either until it froze up. But I think the weather played a big part of it. I think we could take a lesson from the guys up north that do have the flooded corn. Right now, while it's legal, when we still had our private property, I would broadcast Japanese millet on the creek banks and then even into the shallow waters of the pond. And once it came up, I mean, once you managed hunting pressure, it wasn't a matter of if, it was just when you were going to get some ducks that day. I mean, we would go every other weekend and we were always coming out with birds. So if you provide the right habitat, I mean, you're going to be successful. I know it's a lot of the guys that go to the clip toe impoundments and stuff like that. I know there's a lot of mixed opinions on that from different folks. It's fun to hear both of them, really. But, you know, you look at those guys, they've got standing corn. I mean, and granted, I mean, those birds aren't live. They're going to bounce from pond to pond. But, I mean, if they can flood corn, why can't everybody else? If we can just time, effort, and money, that's all it's going to take, you know, at the end of the day. I did a Cat 1 hunt over at the Clemson WMA, and they had duckweed, millet, and I think a few rows of corn. And that was the most ducks I'd seen in South Carolina in my entire life. I mean, it was a quick 3 wood duck limit, and then the mallards came. You killed 2 of those, and then you're like, geez Louise, you know, this is how it ought to all be.
Right.
You know? I mean, it's like anything else. I mean, I don't know if you follow much of the public timber stuff, but where they're cleaning boat ramps and cleaning out shooting holes and stuff like that, where people are just leaving trash, it's up to us to make it a better environment for the birds. You know, if there's no ownership, you know, on public, it won't be any good. So,
well, you know, I knew coming in tonight your thoughts, and I know you know mine, and that's another thing is that we may have separate opinions on things, but we can be civil about it and listen to each other. You know, I'm against corn ponds. I always, you know, and I will tell you this, and to be truthful and honest and transparent about it, when they first started with corn ponds back around here, and I'm talking about in the Santee area where I'm from, when they first started in the 80s, and that's the 1980s, and yes, that's the 1900s, y'all. You know, when the corn ponds started showing up, we were excited because we knew that ducks were going to be around, and they were for a few years in the public areas. But again, they would get hammered. I mean, hammered hard. And when they came off those ponds, and they learned very quickly to stay on them ponds, you know, get up high, fly around, circle, come right back down. Mm-hmm. Maybe go to another one that doesn't have they didn't have any black sticks looking at them. So, you know, in my opinion, and again, everybody has 2 opinions like elbows. I think it does hamper a migration, or at least a relocation. It alters it. If they're not going in the swamp like they used to. I noticed in the past couple of years, even the wood ducks weren't going into some of the traditional places that I would always shoot wood ducks. I mean, always. And I wasn't seeing them. Went up there a couple times this year, and it was like, yeah, I don't see nothing. You know, nothing. And a lot of that has to do with food sources, and I agree 100% with that. I just think corn is bad for the duck itself. It does give it energy really quick, but for the long term, and I'm talking the long term, you know, does it? And so the question needs to be asked, you know, and we can have all of our opinions, but the question needs to be asked and studied. Does it hamper? Does it alter a migration. And if that's true, then something needs to be done. You talk about the clip toes. I call them released mallards or mutt mallards. I never liked them. never one time. They never acted like true mallards. You shake a bread bag at them and they fall into your decoys. But the DNA is different on those ducks. Shorter bodies, smaller bodies, shorter wings, longer legs, shorter bills. The lamelle, the teeth, the filter. They don't have as much. And they're now finding these ducks in the Mississippi and I think some of the in the Central Flyway now. And is that hampering it? Is that genetic starting to hamper a migration? And I mean, these are just questions that I have. And is it?
Yeah.
If it is, we need to stop it completely. If it's not, then okay, I was wrong. I'll admit it. But I think there's nothing we can do about weather. There's nothing. There's not one thing we can do about it. But I think pressure. And there's so many forms of pressure.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that it's the pressure that's really. All right, RD, take care, man. I think pressure is the biggest factor. In my opinion, it's the biggest factor. What do you think about pressure? Just
that the average guy is going to go. I'm not going to say every Saturday, but they're going to go majority Saturdays. They can't get out during the week. So if you have, like for instance, the undisclosed body of water that I like to frequent, I mean that place. I'm trying to think of all the spots you might can hunt. There's 4 spots that are feasible to hunt to where you might see some birds.
Right.
And typically the best spot is, spot A. If you get beat there, you slowly keep getting pushed back. But those spots, there's always trucks at the ramp at those spots. So, I don't think it should all be how they do Cat 1s where it's a draw deal. But, I think we're going to have to do something. I've told people this, I'd love to see the amount of stamps that are sold for not just the people that collect them, but the guys that actually hunt versus the number of birds harvested in South Carolina. People have said, go back to, or go to a 30-day season with 6 birds or go to a 60-day season with 3 birds. I don't know if that'll change anything, but something's got to be done. As far as do the corn ponds hinder migration, I think the only way you could do that would basically like a banding project where you catch all these ducks, you band them, throw a couple of transmitters on some and say, okay, hey, we caught these birds in corn pond in whatever state. We've noticed their maximum migration is, 30 miles outside of where they were banded. And then, then you could say, okay, but, I was trying to read up on it, and it's, as far as crops go, it's anything outside the norm of agricultural harvest. So, but, don't get me wrong. When I used to lease goose fields, you might tip the farmer a little bit more to maybe get a little careless,
right.
He spills some, but that was normal agricultural practice, unless, somebody's listening, they can get me in trouble. And then I don't know what you're talking about. But, I don't know. When I had my private property, I wasn't going to do anything with that Japanese millet.
Yeah.
I wasn't planting it for water control, and it said you can't manipulate it to where it could be considered, baiting. But now is me walking through it when it's at full growth and knocking it down to clear a path to, go check rabbit traps or get to my deer stand and now all of a sudden you've got all this leaning grain in the water. Is that an illegal manipulation? Was that on purpose, or am I just clumsy? I mean, it's going to be what can you prove versus what did you actually do? I mean, it's
right.
So, I don't know. I don't think the corn ponds are going anywhere. It's kind of like Ducks Unlimited money. The state of South Carolina has never seen a dime of Ducks Unlimited money, and I've been a member for, I guess, 23 years now. It goes to the guys that have a lot of money, so
Right.
it's, if I got a chance to hunt with Tony Vandemore, yeah, I'd go up there. But, I mean, his property's nothing but corn ponds, it seems like.
Yeah.
I mean, and he makes no bones about it. He doesn't hide it. But it's like anything else. If food, water, managed hunting pressure, you're going to be successful. I mean,
Well, that's the thing about when I'm talking about pressure. I mean, there's so much pressure, and I'm not just talking about shooting. I run a mud boat. Okay, there's pressure in that.
mm-hmm.
The loud motors. There's pressure in turtle boxes getting turned on at 9 a.m. and people running through the swamp. Yeah, there's pressure there. Shooting high birds. I ain't even talking about tree topping. I'm talking about sky blasting, putting 3.5-inch shells in, and loaded up with TSS and shooting birds at 80, 90 yards or shooting at them. So, there's pressure there. There's pressure in overcrowding. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you were saying there's only 4 or 5 spots. I don't know if you've ever been to Billup Slough on Santee, but I mean, on certain days of the week, Saturday being one of them, you could pass a cup of coffee through there and never spill a drop. And everybody's shooting at that one duck. Everybody's calling at that one duck. And everybody thinks that they're, the next world stage champion. So, you've got to, so that's what I'm saying. There's pressure everywhere. And, I don't know, I've past couple of years, really trying to figure this out. Are people just not, they don't care, or they've never been taught correctly. I mean, look at yourself. I mean, you hunt over your own decoys, which is probably what, 5, 6, 7, 9. I know you do a lot of kayaking or small boats, or walk-in hunts. So, are people just not taught, the correct way? I'm not talking about ethics. I'm just talking about being a duck hunter. Are we not teaching them enough? Are we not pushing it enough on, say, social media to, hey, this, we got it. You're young, and you want to get ducks. I got it. You want that tailgate full. I got it. I understand it. I was there too. But as we get older, we all of a sudden start realizing it's not all about how many ducks you put on a tailgate. It's fun. It's fun to do it every now and then, but is it really what we should be doing?
That's such a good question. And gosh, I mean, I feel like I can speak for 30 minutes on this one, because
we got 30 minutes. So go.
As waterfowlers, we are our best friends and our worst enemies. And I'm guilty of it myself. If I had a new guy come up to me and say, and I don't post many kill pictures on Facebook. I post appropriate ones, and I post just enough to where people know I still go, but I don't post all my good days just because I don't want to have to babysit people and, oh, can you take me? I want to get on some birds. But, if I had a new guy come up to me and say, how do I duck hunt? I mean, I don't want to give them my spots. It's because now that's one more person I've got to compete with. My first response is going to be, well, you got to put miles on the truck. You got to, paddle on a kayak. You got to put, hours on the boat, et cetera, et cetera. You got to figure it out yourself. And then now they're they're figuring it out, but now they're learning bad habits, or what I consider bad habits. And I don't think I'm the end all be all on, how to do everything. I mean, I've done it for a while now, and I have more good days than bad, but I don't know. I think it'd be cool to take somebody under your wing and kind of mentor them a little bit. I learned most of my stuff from my dad, and I look back on the way we did things. He wasn't a gear freak. And I look back on that now, and I think he wasn't a gear freak because he just didn't want to tote the stuff in and out, Right. So, he came up and he was like, look, if the ducks are going to be there, they're going to come in regardless. Give them a few quacks, whistles, peeps, kick the water a little bit and you'll be okay. And gosh, I staffed with Mojo, I guess 3 years ago now. And to go on a hunt to satisfy their needs for an ambassador. I mean, I had more wires and batteries in my backpack than, most electricians do. And I was like, man, This ain't duck hunting. This is kind of silly, but that's a different tangent. But no, how people learn and stuff like that. I've got a guy that I regularly go with, he'll say he's going scouting this afternoon. And then he'll call me and say, okay, hey, I found the ducks. I did shoot into them, but they're going to be there in the morning. And I'm like, well, why are you carrying a shotgun when you're scouting? It's, and I was like, were they all wood ducks? He was like, yeah. I'm like, then they're gone, dude. If you shot into them, they're gone. Forget it. But I love them to death. But, for me, you don't scout with a shotgun. You keep one on you just for protection. If you see a pig or something, or a feral hog. I wasn't making a law enforcement joke or anything. Don't want to get you canceled.
All right. I was a cop once. I understand.
But, it's just the right way to scout. I think woodsmanship goes a long way. Try to leave your area better than you found it. Just because it's not your trash doesn't mean you should leave it,
I always tell people, when you're scouting for ducks, I mean, I tell people about scouting for ducks, and I ask them two questions. Do you deer hunt and do you turkey hunt? And 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, yeah. And I said, okay, do you run your four-wheeler full blast through the woods or your side-by-side or four-wheeler or whatever and just drive it all up and down the roads looking for deer? Well, no. I said, well, what do you do? Well, I get out and I walk and I'm quiet and I'm looking for scrapes. I'm looking for this and that. I'm like, game trails. I said, okay. How about for turkeys? Do you run your truck up and down the roads and drive down the dirt roads, throwing mud everywhere with your radio blasting? Well, no, dude. I get out, I walk, and then I use an owl call and try to locate one, but I'm quiet. And if I hear one, I just back out of there real quiet. I said, it's the same thing with ducks, brother. It's the same thing with ducks. Your outboard motor, your mud motor can get you close. And I agree that'll get you close. But once you get to where you think you might want to start looking, put that boat on the side on a hill somewhere and get out and start walking. If you want something for protection, carry a pistol. Carry a pistol, a judge, one with a 45 long Colt for a hog and one with 410 shot for a snake. But, get out and walk. Don't have duck calls around your neck. Don't have anything in your boat. Get your bottle of water and a walking stick and just go and just listen, because ducks will tell you where they're at. You'll hear them way before you see them. Especially wood ducks or even mallards. I mean, they're probably the two most rambunctious calling ducks that we have.
Yeah, they're not quiet creatures by any means.
In my opinion, anyway. So, why make all that noise? And I think that pressure, I have, and this happened to me. I'm quite sure it's happened to you. You rounded a bend on a river or a slough or something and just flushed up every one of them out of there, and you went, well, that's where they were.
Yeah.
They ain't gonna be there tomorrow, but let me look and see what they may be feeding on, or maybe what was about it. Look at the water depths. Look at the water. You've already messed that place up. You might as well just go ahead and look at it. Get a closer look at it, and then give it about an hour, and then start looking again and easing and getting out of that boat. I can't tell you. I think I've drugged my boat through shallow water, tied a rope around it, just and floated it behind me more than I've done, actually riding it. So and that's pressure. I mean, that's pressure on the bird. So, like I said, there's so many forms of it. Go ahead.
I mean, you're 100% right. I mean, it's the little stuff that makes big differences. I mean, there's a guy that I work with. He's got a pretty duck boat, but he's scared to cover it with $40 worth of burlap because he doesn't want to cover up the name brand on it. And he's wondering why he's not, he's flaring birds and stuff. I'm like, look, dude, don't let $40 ruin a hunt.
Right.
I mean, it's 2026, cover your boat, figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, I usually, when I run through the swamp, I collect more tree limbs than anything, so that mine's already naturally covered. I'm hitting more trees than I think I'm doing anything else. But yeah, I mean, you go out there and look at my boat right now. I got stuff growing in the bottom. I mean, it's just added camouflage as far as I'm concerned.
That's right.
But yeah, I mean, it's just and for me, it's pressure. Because you can't do a thing about weather. There's nothing you can do about it. But pressure, nesting areas, and wintering areas. Those three things you can do. I think we need more nesting, and that's between our government and the Canadian government. We all know that. Wintering areas. I mean, I don't know if you saw the Facebook post here recently, but it was either 1,500 or 15,000. Somebody correct me if they know, but they're fixing to drain. It's either 15 or I'm pretty sure it's 1,500 acres in Charleston on the coast, fixing to drain the marsh to build houses on it.
Well, there goes all your black ducks.
Yeah.
Theirs are gone.
They're gone. They're 100% gone. I just like it's crazy, man. Sometimes it feels like our state really does not care if we duck hunt or not. For the public duck hunter.
There's no money in it. I mean, you're gonna the amount, the licenses you sell and the stamps and all that stuff, they don't care. I mean, you look at, even your public land deer hunter, they don't care about them either. They could, God, if they sold, what's a big one around here? Like if they sold Fance Grove in Anderson,
right?
Put up a bunch of townhouses and, cookie cutter market homes. Golly, you're going to make more money off those first rounds of houses than you would in a decade with hunting licenses.
Right.
And then you scratch your head and they say, well, geez, why are there so many deer on the side of 85 and 26? I just don't understand.
Yeah. Why is our insurance gone up? Because we're crashing cars again.
But I don't know. I've thrown my hands up at it, but as far as pressure goes, I'd be okay with a shorter season, and even if it had to go to, all WMAs or Cat 1 where you get drawn for it, see how that works for a couple of years.
Let me read something to you real quick that Tyler has put in the comments. The University of Tennessee Tech has done a very good study with backpack transmitters, which we were talking about earlier, in West Tennessee. Look up Cohen Wildlife, which I believe it's Professor Cohen, if I'm not mistaken, and if I'm wrong, please correct me. Really good biologist, and or I don't know if he's a professor. I know he's a biologist. And watch some of the Mossy Oak Gamekeeper videos with Brad Cohen. Okay, then he also comes at in what we were just talking about. Can y'all not fight that through government environmental services? Yes and no. We can, but we've done it somewhat in the past, but I'm gonna be quite honest. Big money is taking over, and it's something that's really hard unless you can find a species of animal, other than a spotted owl, that's nesting somewhere. But yes, we do fight a lot of it, Tyler. We actually have an organization, and it's on Facebook. It's called the Carolina Wildlife Syndicate, and a bunch of conservationists are on there, hunters, fishermen, forestry guys, you name it. We're all on it, and we're always fighting somebody, sending petitions in and doing it that way. So yeah, so yes, but big money takes over a lot. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, dude, you're good. You're good. I'm just happy to be here.
I hear you.
But no, it's but getting back to the pressure and stuff. I remember when my dad golfed a lot, he had a group of 5 that he would go with, and it had just rained like a bunch, and the ground had been so dry that it was now just a giant sponge. And he said that you could see where you were driving through, you were leaving footprints, you were taking these huge divots, and it was just terrible. And he said there's way too much play on the golf course. They've got to start limiting people. He said, there was a group of 5 in front of us, a group of 5 behind us, and there was a bunch of people in the parking lot that were about to go out and play. He said they've got to limit it. And I said, well, your group of 5 is just as guilty as the other groups. He was like, well, no. That's different. That's different. I'm
Right.
like, well, if everybody has that same attitude where it's always the other guy, you're never going to get anywhere,
Exactly.
I've never hunted the full 60 days, but and I don't know many people that do anymore unless they're outfitters or they're not married. But
exactly.
I
would, and I'll get a lot of kickback with this, and it's something that I've been thinking about here recently, I think that if we do cut if the days get cut, if the limits get cut, I think it would send more ducks north for nesting, and possibly send more ducks back. To me, that's just the way I think about it. I wouldn't mind. I don't know how many South Carolinians we have in here tonight. They're as old as I am, but I remember 30 and 4, and it's 30 days. It ended. The season ended mid-January. It was done. It was over with. I wouldn't mind a 45 and 4. And as far as the days of a 45 day season, that does not include your early teal. I think the early teal should be at least 2 weekends. I think there should be at least 2 weekends in there for early teal. I don't know how you can split that up. Let's say it's an 8-day, but at least put your weekends in there, 2 weekends in there to, may open, close. You know what I'm saying? It's not a straight thing. But as far as the limits, my opinion only, guys. Don't crucify me. I think it's for ducks. And when I say that, no more than 2 of any species. 2 wood ducks, 2 mallards, 2 pintails, 2 black ducks, 2 bluebills, 2 redheads, 2 everything is double. And when I and not like, let's go like for mallards, okay? Because everybody is, you know, about the mallard limit and the hen versus drake ratio. It should just be 2 mallards, not a drake, 2 drakes, or a drake and a hen. It if it happens, it happens. 2 hens. And leave it, but leave it at 2 ducks. You know,
Yeah.
two mallards, 2 wood ducks. I know there's some of y'all out there that can tell the difference of a drake wood duck in flight in the early morning light, but I can't anymore. You know, I don't think I have ever. I sometimes get a hairy head, sometimes confused with a wood duck. Sometimes. So, you know, I just think it should be two of each species with a total of 4 ducks. You know, the early teal season, especially in South Carolina, I think should be again four ducks, 2 of which could be wood ducks. And you know, drop this 3. You know, drop the 3 pintails, knock it down to 2. I don't want to see a point system. I've hunted in a point system, and nope, I don't want to see a point system.
I was going to ask, were you alive and were you hunting during the point system?
I was hunting when Texas had a point system, and
Okay.
I'll tell you this: pintail drakes were 10 points. You could have 100 points, and pintails were 10 points. That's 10 pintail drakes, and it was me and my dad, and for 3 days we shot 20 pintail drakes a day.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, you know, this thing is about pressure. This thing is about we need to make some hard decisions. And in my opinion, we need to make some hard decisions now before it comes to a point where we are not able to make decisions and we don't have ducks anymore. We got to do something. Really good friend of mine, he wants to go to 30-3. I mean, he is adamant about it. And another good friend of mine doesn't want to lose a day. And you know, we discuss it, but you know, we're friends and we discuss it. But I would take the middle road and go, you know, 45-4. And because it's just there's so much pressure out there that you know, and you know, do we continue the tradition in the South of having a Thanksgiving season, or do we just go straight into a December, January season? You know, mid-December through the end of January, or maybe early December and run it to mid-January. You know, how is, you know, because I mean, let's face those the Christmas season, the Thanksgiving season, and 2 weeks in Christmas, they take a beating. And you know, well, we got to do something. And at least, what are your thoughts on that? What are you thinking?
I did real good the Thanksgiving season. I was part of that group that I did the beating. It was opening day, barrel burner. Came back the next day, barrel burner. It was the birds were there. But once again, the birds were there, and so were the people. So, I mean, they got hammered in that spot, and we blew it out. Luckily, you know, that ice pushed a lot of fresh birds down. But,
right,
you know, I don't know. I mean, how do you regulate something without people saying the government's overstepping boundaries? I think that's the biggest.
Well, I mean, I only have one answer for that. And since 1920, since the Migratory Bird Treaty has been in effect, the government's been running the waterfowl seasons. So are they overstepping? I mean, they were saying the same thing. They're overstepping us toward the market hunters.
Yeah.
They said the same thing to them, and nobody that I know of now is going. They said they did the wrong thing. They may have said it right then, but history shows, throughout, going into the future, people are. Oh, it's good to think about those days, but yeah, I'm glad they did it. Real quick, John Sullivan, who's in Texas, he says maybe 60-3 would be good. He goes, I remember the points here in Texas. Wish they would push our opener back a few weeks. Okay. So there's at least I got some guys in here that are they're looking at it, and like us, we're looking at it going, let's discuss it. Let's talk about it. I think that with the pressure, like I said, you come down here, one of these days, man, you just got to come down, and I got a spare bedroom because you're gonna have to sleep here because we're gonna have to leave the house at 1:30, 2 o'clock just to get a tree.
Yeah.
What's up, Jeff? But I'll take you there, and we'll just hunt over a handful of decoys. We're not don't you want to carry a gun, carry one. I probably will just sit back and drink coffee and eat apple pies because ain't nothing gonna come in. And it'll sound like a young war. I mean, it sounds like it's a young war. And you'll watch ducks start to work somebody, and then boom, 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 and all you hear is that, and you look and go, how do they kill anything around here? And that's why I'm kind of looking at other alternatives because, listen, as much as I do not like corn ponds, I got a sneaking suspicion they're not going away. There's just way too much money involved with this. Mm-hmm. And speaking of that, and speaking devil's advocate, like I said, I'm against it, but I can see the other side. And here's the other side. If they do away with corn ponds, which I hope they do, but regardless, what's going to happen to that property? Are the owners going to, the landowner, are they going to break down and plant moist soil and try to keep the conservation going? Or are they just going to say, screw it and sell it off into parcels? And next thing you know, you got a housing development with a Dollar General on it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot to think about on this. And as much as I dislike them, I see that side, and to me, it's a fear. What are your thoughts?
No, I think it's absolutely real. I mean, if you got guys that they're able to flood corn and they've been doing it for a decade, and that's pretty much how they eat, they charge guys. I think the cheapest I've seen for a guided hunt was $250 a day. Typically, the guys that have corn ponds, they can charge what they want to. So you think the average guy goes on a 3-day trip, even at $300 a day, plus tip, they're going to make at least $1,000 between,
right,
hunts, lodging, and tips. And if the average blind holds 4 people, that's $4,000 for 3 days,
Yeah. I mean, you go into a corn pond here in South Carolina and lease a blind, you're talking anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 to lease a blind that you can only hunt 2 days a week.
Yeah.
On the impounds that we have here. So there's a lot of big money involved with it. And I agree 100% with you. If they don't get rid of corn ponds, at least let me go out and pour a bag. You know what I'm saying? I know that sounds a little hypocritical of me, but make it, let's make it fair, and if they don't do it, then let me, because here's the thing: as far as pouring corn, which I have never done, but
I gotta know.
it's like you walking through Japanese millet. I can't help it if stuff gets knocked down.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: we have, as it stands right now, we have a season, 60 days. You can only have 6 ducks, and those market hunting days are over. They're gone. I got Mark Taylor laughing at me. Mark's a really good friend of mine. He knows me. So you look at all the regs that we have on ducks. So here's the thing: let it, if you're going to keep a corn pond, let us pour a bag of corn out. If you get caught with over the limit, then there should be some hefty penalties. I'm not necessarily saying jail time, but everything you got, you got to find your own way back home. You're going to have to find your own way back home. And I hope, and tell them to bring an extra set of clothes for you, because we're taking everything. We're going to take everything. I mean, make it a hefty penalty, but as long as you stay in the limits and the season rules, I don't see why not. I mean, honest, and as much as I'm against it, the thing is, make it to where it's fair. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, back in high school, some guys I knew, when there was persuasion in the water, you had shoots. I mean, it wasn't a coincidence. I mean, there's no arguing with it. I mean, if the fines now, if you get caught with corn, you get a financial fine, you lose your license for a year or 2, you get shamed on Facebook through the DNR. I mean, so obviously corn does something, I mean, so, but I don't know. Me personally, I wouldn't throw corn now, just because it's been drilled in my head, like, if you get caught doing that,
Yeah, but I mean, if they make it legal, is what I'm getting at. Is if they make it legal.
Yeah, I mean, if they make it legal, I'll be the first one at Academy Sports. I'll have a jet sled.
Cheaper, by the way, I'm just saying. I know Tractor Supply is cheaper, but don't ask me how I know that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be the first one to do it. If it's legal, it's kind of like shooting hooded mergansers. I mean, if one lands in the decoys, it ain't getting a free pass.
That's right.
Dog got to eat too. But
exactly.
If it's legal, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I don't agree with, but hey, it's shooting the roost. If you shoot the roost, I don't agree with it, but it's legal. I can't say anything.
Right.
But who knows? I don't think they'll ever legalize corn, but
yeah, all I'm saying is I hope they get rid of it, but if they don't, make it to where we can pour a bag of corn out. Just, because it evens it up somehow. I mean, it'll even up a little bit. I mean, because there's just not enough. There's not enough natural foods in our swamps. I mean, there's some. Don't get me wrong, but it's just not enough. The dud days or the DUD days or duck usage days, it's just not enough to keep ducks in there. Not even a half a day. I mean, if they ever came in there.
I mean, I can remember walking swamps when I was in high school, and it almost looked like a green pasture because there was so much duckweed just in the water. I mean, where did all that go?
Yeah.
I mean, what happened? I mean, what are they? I mean, what are they? You know, they're spraying for these non-native invasives, but they're not targeting them. I mean, it's like doing a control burn. I mean, everything around it's going to get burned, you know, until you put that fire break. So it's just like, and I don't know. It's like I said, the only cat one I've ever hunted was Clemson this year. And that guy even told me, he was like, if you think this is good, he was like, you've got to see the Broad River WMA. He said that's the one people want before they get down to, you know, Georgetown and Santee and, you know, Waccamaw, all that fun stuff. He was like, the upstate, he said, Broad River is as good as it gets. You know, he said that's where you'll see the mallards and the jacks and the teal and stuff like that.
Right. So I had another question for you. What do you think about if the Department of Interior decides it wants to open up more? There's already a lot of NWRs that are open up for duck hunting around the country. But what if they decide to open up some here in South Carolina? Are you for that or against opening up refuges?
Yeah. Put a certain number of blinds on it. Treat it just like a cat one. Get drawn.
Okay.
You know, that way you know, if you have, you know, we'll just say four guys can hunt it. You've got them north, south, east, and west, and they might not even see each other that entire hunt, you know, but you can push birds around and they're still going to find sanctuary spots, you know, and even if you wanted to switch it up to where, you know, because for an animal that has a brain the size of a pea, they're not stupid, you know, so you would have to have your true headings, your north, south, east, and west. And then I think every other week you would rotate them to where you'd have your, you know, your northeast, southeast, all that, to where it would just catty corner to where they wouldn't say, okay, that's where a blind is. Let's avoid that. That way you get a chance to actually harvest some birds.
Right.
But I think there was a video with Phil Robertson, and he was talking about, he used to call in every band that he killed, and he would tell them, you know, oh, I killed it on, you know, Caney Lake or whatever. And then after so many years, they shut it down and they turned it into a refuge because it was holding so many birds and they wanted a place for them to rest. So, you know, and I don't know how true that is. I never met the man, but I don't think he had a reason to lie about that. So it's, I don't know. They need to open it up at least, you know, a couple days a year. I mean, you know, a spot can only hold so many birds before it becomes a nutritional concern, you know.
Right.
Yeah, that's why they got multiple dog food bowls. I mean, if you've got 3 dogs, if you only have one bowl, I mean, somebody ain't getting fed.
Well, I'm of the thought that yes, I think they should be opened. We have in our state, we have 8 NWRs in our state. I do not think that they should all be open at one time. But you have, for example, you have, and I mentioned this in my video the other day, you know, we have the Santee National Wildlife Refuge, which composes of 4 units. And even out of those 4 units, I don't think all of them should be opened. Maybe 2 of those be opened and only opened up 2 days a week. Now, the logistics of blinds or the blinds or something like that, that's something that logistically that needs to be considered. If you take like the Ace Basin, it's huge. You could mark off an area that says, okay, you can't hunt over here, but y'all can hunt all of this, and let them go just 2 days a week, you know, just 2 days a week, and let them hunt and let people hunt and enjoy it. And I think that, I mean, that's the, you know, I'm not saying setting it up like Lake Mattamuskie or anything with blinds. I mean, that could be done. But there's some places like Cuddo NWR that would be perfect for non-motorized boats, kayaks, paddles, that, maybe an electric motor, you know, walk-in hunts, stuff like that. I mean, it's absolutely a beautiful place to do that. So I'm all for it. Me personally, I think it. I don't think. Of course, it's not going to happen tomorrow, and it may not even happen next year. But I think they've stepped in the right direction. Let me say hello to somebody real quick. We got Jeff Barrison here. Jeff, what's going on? Glad you could make it. Mark J. Larson's in the house, and I know I've missed some other people. I know Tyler he's been kind of vocal, and I'm not disking you out, dude. I just got into a conversation and couldn't get out of it. He says, how off the wall would it be to try and help mallards, gadwalls, pintails by implementing more of the hen tubes or hen houses that Delta uses in the swamps, lakes, etc.? Maybe more ducks stay instead of flying back. John Sullivan says money equals corn pond, and everyone knows big money runs politicians. Yeah. Mark Taylor was laughing at me about my corn joke. Anti puts in here. You never know what Anti is going to type in here, dude. Dog eats first. This is the way. It's not even close to the same. I forget the conversation we were having when you said that. Sorry about that, Tyler. Mark's just saying he's in the house. Scott Schultz is in the house. What's going on, Scott? Glad you could make it. Yeah, so guys, we're just talking about a whole bunch of stuff. I don't even know how long we're going. We've been here over an hour, but we just
the question about the nesting tubes.
Yeah,
like I think that's great. I try to build and hang at least one wood duck box every year on a new piece of property, or I try to maintain the ones that I see in my area. But I think to get people to do it, unfortunately, once again, it's like I talk about the public land ownership. To actually do it, you would have to have some kind of reward system in place and say, look, if you're willing to donate one Saturday during spring or whatever, whenever they hang those things, that would give you preference points towards, a Cat 1 WMA, or, you would have to make it worth people's while. I know that probably sounds bad saying or hearing it, but there's not too many people that are going to do stuff unless it's, well, what do I get out of it other than, possibly harvesting more ducks? Because, unfortunately, right. Yeah, it's just kind of the way we are as human beings. But I love nesting tubes. I love nesting boxes. I think there should be more of them. But
Tyler says, great idea. Me, I think they're actually called mallard hen houses. That's what the technical what Delta calls them, but the tubes. I think they're a great idea. I know there used to be an organization here in South Carolina. I don't know what happened to them, but every year they would go and make hundreds of them. They'd spend a couple of weekends, a couple of Saturdays, and they would make hundreds of them. And then they would put them all in a tractor trailer and ship them up to Pennsylvania. And the reason they sent them to Pennsylvania is what a lot of people don't realize. The majority of our mallards on the Atlantic Flyway, wild mallards, that's where they nest. They nest in Pennsylvania in the Great Lakes region. So they would send them up there, and they would get with I think it was Delta, and then but I don't know whatever happened to that organization. They just kind of went, slid off the map. I haven't seen anything of them anymore. I've tried to look them up, but again, that would be a great idea. I mean, to build these nests and either ship them to the nesting areas. Get them into the prairie potholes, get them into the Lake Erie region. You know, I'm in agreement with you. Wood duck boxes, I try to maintain a couple a year. That's on public water that's been there for years. I've gone out and rebuilt several of them. Put new nesting material in them. Some of them, somebody beat me to them, which I'm quite sure would be SCWA or maybe a intern for a waterfowl biologist intern. Flyway Federation, I believe it was. Ryan, I believe you're right. How you doing, buddy? Long time no see. So yeah, I think I think everybody, even if you can't go put a wood duck box out, everybody knows where they're at. Get you some cedar litter, cedar chips from Tractor Supply. Run out to a couple of them, open them up, stand back a little bit,
get some wasp spray.
Yeah, bring your wasp spray. And if there's nothing in there, or if it's fresh, leave it alone. If it's not, scoop it out and pour some new one in there and shut it up. And I know of 2 wood duck boxes that have been used for the past 5 years, and I know that because I eased up on one, and I did not have my camera ready. I did not have it ready whatsoever. And that old wood duck, she came out of that nest like a scalded dog. And I eased up to it, and I opened up the hatch, and there were 8 eggs in there, and I was just as happy as I could be. And she was about 20 feet from me, running around in a circle like she had a broke wing, trying to get me to chase her. So, but yeah, I think it's a great idea, and I don't know how, maybe we need to start another organization. Maybe we need to start doing things like that. I've asked my local chapter of DU, would y'all be interested in that? And they, no, we just do the fundraiser. I know Delta does a few things. Even cleanup, dude. Even going to a boat ramp and doing a cleanup week. I did it on my own one time. I actually had a county employee come and ask me what the heck I was doing, and I said, I look at the back of my truck. I had 10 bags of trash in the back of my truck. I said, I've been picking up batteries, old rod and reels, boat seats, worm cups, you name it. I had it, and I'm talking about contractor bags, full of junk, tires, boat trailer tires. Yeah.
We are our own worst enemy when it comes to public land. I mean, it's.
Tyler is saying, why not use them in your own swamps around lakes locally? Here in Tennessee, we have some local mallards, and let's just enhance the opportunities for the ones that are around. Not a problem with that either. Yeah, we can do that too. I guess I'm just old school in my thinking still, and not thinking about local birds and more of migratory birds. So, but yeah, you're right. You're right, Tyler. 100%.
What do you think about the early goose season? I've never got your opinion on that, at least in South Carolina, where you can kill 15 birds a day.
Well, you're the goose master.
No, I'm far from that.
The only geese I ever see are on golf courses and in city parks.
Yeah.
That's the only ones I ever see. I see them flying over, going to roost sometimes at the house, but they don't hit cornfields. They don't. At least I've never seen that many in a cornfield around here. I don't know why, but they just don't. It seems like. I know up there where you're at, they hit them quite hard, but
yeah,
for whatever reason, I just never see them in the fields. I mean, and I do a lot of driving when it gets doesn't get dark to 9 o'clock at night. I get off work, I'm riding around looking for stuff. And
shoot, one of the best hunts we ever had, there was a sod farm in Lyman, and I was actually driving around for work, and I passed it And as far as the eye could see, nothing but Canada's. And I called the number on the billboard. I was like, "Hey, dude, I just drove by your field. I was like, those geese are eating all your sod and they're crapping everywhere. I was like, let me give you a couple of dead presidents and let me hunt that field with a couple guys." He was like, "Hell, you don't have to pay me nothing." He said, "Come kill all that you can." And I mean, we wound up stacking them.
Yeah.
He was happier than a pig in mud. But it's, and then you got the snow goose conservation season, out in Arkansas and stuff. I think it'd be fun to do one time, but God, it's a lot of birds. Just, I don't know how good snow geese are to eat, but once again, I was always raised, if you shoot it, you got to eat it.
Yeah. As far as the Canadas go, I don't hunt them that often. I'm not a goose hunter. So
Right.
I don't go and chase geese like a lot of people do. However, for me, a Canada goose is it's opportunity. They just happen to be there. One just happened to fly over while I was trying to shoot a wood duck.
Yeah.
So I don't really go after them. I only got 4 goose decoys, dude. I mean, that's and I use them for confidence when I'm on the lake on open water. So it's the only time I use them. The conservation hunts, I've never been on one, but I have snow goose hunted before. As far as table fare, um, I think that's up to the individual. Me personally, I'd rather eat a coot, but I've eaten them. What Phil Robinson once said, you put enough garlic and hot sauce on it, anything tastes better. They just, they are for me. They're a bird that you breast them out, you split open the breast, you stuff it with something, you wrap it up in bacon, you soak it for 2 days in buttermilk or zesty Italian dressing, and you throw it on the grill. Cook the bacon, eat the bacon, throw the snow goose away.
Yeah.
It's just, would I do it? I would love to get on a great shoot, but I think my dogs would be happy for the rest of the year eating snow goose with their kibble. So,
I tell you, my next big project I got some cedar in the other day. I'm gonna try to make a big canvas swan. So that's my next bucket list bird. I want to kill a swan. So
yeah, I've killed one, and the taxidermist left town or something. I don't know whatever happened to it, but my plan this year is to get a. I used to get a year license for North Carolina. It was only $174, and I was pretty much going up there if not every weekend, every other weekend. So, I was getting my money's worth. But I think this year I'm going to put in for another year license, and I'm going to put in for the swan season tag. Because I missed a year, I probably have lost my preference point. So that'll probably be another next 2 years. I'll get my preference points back and get on another hunt. If you ever put in for a North Carolina swan tag, let me know. I got a great outfitter, a great guy. You will have the opportunity to pull the trigger on a swan.
So, how does applying for those tags work? You have to have a license before you apply?
I wish Charles was in here, and I haven't seen him show up. Charles is from North Carolina, Charles Holden. And it is my understanding that you got to have a license before you apply for the tag. That tag is good for the whole swan season. It's not just, you can only kill one swan. That tag is good for one swan, but it's good for the whole season that it's open. So I don't know if you have to have the license then, or you have to purchase it prior to actually getting the tag in the mail if you happen to win. I don't know how that works. I always get confused with that one. but what I did is, because I do have some friends that live up there and that I hunted with. I just did not get a chance to hunt with them this year, so I didn't get a license. So, and I didn't put in for it, but I am this year. Come June, July, I think is the time frame.
Okay.
Putting in for it.
I have to look into doing that too, because like I said, I would love to take a swan over a canvas bird.
You know, these are all field hunts. All of these are field hunts. And these guys know what they're doing. I think we had 8 or 10 people lined up in a ditch that day, and everybody took turns. Everybody, you know, a group would come in and only one person would shoot. That's how, I mean, I was looking at fields the day before when we were scouting, and I mean, I saw a field that had over 20,000 swans on it.
Jeez Louise.
Go back into the archives. You'll find it. It's all on video.
That's a ton of birds.
Yeah. And this year they did well. They did real well this year. Everybody got their bird. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, in 8 years, everybody has got their bird.
Dang. You can't argue with that.
You can't argue with that.
Yeah, I was trying to watch videos on YouTube and stuff, and there were guys that they were like, "Oh, that's a juvie swan. It's got, you know, like gray down feathers. You want to get a full mature one, you know." So I don't know. I'm excited. Hopefully I get drawn and I can get in with a good outfitter.
Yeah, let me know. I'll give you, if you go to North Carolina, I'll give you the guy's name.
That was that. What was it? Poor Boys Outfitters or something?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. He them boys. I mean, they know what they're doing. They're great guys. It really gets. You know, the time of morning that you meet up, and then they go out and they set everything out, and then they come back and get you, and you'll follow them to a wherever, you know, close but not close enough. Then you get in, you bail up into a trailer, and it's daylight when you get in there and get set up. And I mean, you're like you're fighting at the bit, because, you know, we got to have everything set up an hour before daylight, and, you know, all right, everybody get down, everybody get in these blinds or get in the ditch or wherever we're hunting, you know, get in there now, because they'll be coming in about 10 minutes. And sure enough, here they come. So, and he's like, all right, we're gonna shoot right down the lines. That's, you know, you're gonna see everybody who hits and who misses.
Jeez.
Yep.
Yeah, I want to kill a swan. And I want to get into sea duck hunting. That's gonna be I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Was it Matthew up in North Carolina does a lot of sea duck hunting?
Oh yeah, Matt. Yeah, he's a big sea duck guy. I think he lived well north up until the time he got stationed in North Carolina. So he killed a ton of eiders, a lot of scoters. So right. Yeah, he's a good one. Yeah, we stay in contact because we're about the only two guys that'll still make a canvas bird. So
right. He called me all season wanting me to come up there and hunt with him, and I was just like, dude, I'm so sorry. I want to, but, you know, I got 2 Louisiana trips, a Minnesota trip. You know, but I'm planning on. I'm hoping to go to North Dakota this year in October. And that's going to be my big trip. And then, like I said, I'm getting a North Carolina license, so I'll probably go up there and hunt a lot up there. Different places that I know about and whatnot, and see what happens.
I got a gal that I was in the Navy with. She retired and she moved back to Kansas, and her dad owns a farm. I was like, if y'all have got water on it, for the love of all things holy, let me come up there and hunt. I'll sleep on your couch. I'll wash dishes. I don't care what I got to do. And she was like, yeah, I got to make sure my nephew, all he does is deer hunt. I'm like, I don't have a care to kill one of the deer. Just let me shoot the ducks. But that'd be a fun one too. I've heard good things about Kansas.
Right. I've never hunted there. It's on my bucket list. So, I'm if you'd have caught me on the 2 days my boat motor broke, I only went like four to 6 times this year, and I think 3 times was in a boat, and twice my motor just started acting up. But if you'd have caught me at the landing with the right amount of money, and it wouldn't have been much, I'd be boatless right now. I mean, that thing drove me nuts. I now know what the problem is, and when it warms up, I'll get it fixed and have it running before spring. But I'm just going to let it warm up before I go out there and start working on it.
But yeah, hopefully before your next teal trip, hopefully I'll have some goodies to send your way. So,
oh man,
you're a better social media guy than I am, so that'd be worth it. That'd be worth its weight there. So,
yeah, I don't know I don't know what's going to happen this teal season. We kind of lost a place that we were hunting. We kind of lost it. Well, we did lose it. And so I don't know. I've met some people out there that I could probably go and hunt with them a couple of days, in their big blinds. But the place I really wanted to hunt, we lost. So I don't know. If I teal hunt, it's going to be probably local.
okay.
It's just going to be local, and I do have a few places that I know of that when the water's right, it holds birds, that kind of thing. But it's going to be I don't know. I got to wait and see. I got to see what happens if we can find another place out west to hunt teal, because Lord knows there's nothing like mallards. Okay, there's really nothing like mallards coming through the trees or coming over a marsh and pintails. I mean, come on. But those little teal, they excite me more than anything else, dude. They really do. I break out the little 410 or the 28, and I'm like, yeah, let's get them close and let's knock some heads off.
Yeah, I love my first time ever killing a good number of teal was in Missouri, and just to hear them buzz the blind. I mean, it was like you were ducking just so they didn't hit you. I mean, it's.
One quick story. Last year in Louisiana, or last September, we were packing up. We were packing up, and we only had one boat, and we had to make 2 trips to get everybody back. And I was the last person to go, right? One of the last to go. And we were sitting there, guns unloaded, everything's packed up, ready to get in the boat when they get back. And also, and I mean, they came in, and one of the boys grabbed his gun. He didn't case his gun, and he had 3 shells in his pocket. And he loaded that gun so fast and shot so fast. But what was cool is I just stuck the camera up over the blind like this, just praying that I'd catch something. And dadgummit if he didn't blow the head off of one.
Jeez.
I mean, it was awesome. And then, the boat came around the corner. We all got in the boat and got bougie, and we started picking up those 3 birds. It's like, good Lord. But yeah, I love them, dude. Those little things excite me.
Well, shoot, that's about all I got for tonight.
Yeah, I'm about right there with you, buddy. It's been a long day at work. Wes, again, guys, if y'all are looking for duck calls in the what I call the Louisiana style, Louisiana cut duck calls, or you're looking for a canvas over wire decoy, whether to use as a gunner or a shelf piece or a lantern box, which is one of the coolest things that I've ever gotten. Find Wes on Facebook, Ground Swat Game Calls. Find Wes. Tell him I sent you. All right. And then get you some stuff. Guys, if nothing else, it's good memorabilia. It's good stuff just to have around, and like I'm putting mine on the wall. Y'all see it next week. Y'all will see it next Sunday. I don't want to get into too much in the weeds with it, but that video will be out. But anyway, guys, Wes, thank you so much for coming on tonight. You have an
absolutely, man. Thank y'all for having me.
Even if I don't invite you in, like we talked about, if you just show up and you want, hey, and I'm going to ask you want to come up, and you say yeah, I'll bring you up. It doesn't matter. We'll talk about something.
Sounds good.
But let's see here. God bless you. Go get him in the marsh from Jeff. Mark said North Dakota is the promised land. Scott saying good night, guys. Been a good listening to y'all. And John is saying good content tonight. Y'all have a great evening. Listen, guys, appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for supporting me, and I really do appreciate it. But we will see y'all next time on Daddy Duck 365, and y'all have a great night and a great week. Wes, thank you so much, buddy.
Thank you, buddy. Y'all take care.